So here we go. I just want to do basically a video on this. Let's go.
What it is, bitch. Okay, so I need to talk about this because it's getting on my fucking nerves, okay? Like, every time I get on any social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, fucking Reddit, anywhere that there's black people, there's some ignorance, okay? And especially with some black women who don't want to date outside their race, okay? Simply because of slavery. Girl, slavery was over 200 years ago. Your mama wasn't a slave. Your daddy wasn't a slave. Your grand.
And add it to it. Why are you blaming white people today for something that happened a long time ago? You're doing that, but I don't even really think you feel that it's a smokescreen. There's a reason for that smokescreen. Let's continue.
Your mama wasn't a slave. Your great grandmama was no damn slave. Why the fuck are you using that excuse, bitch? Just be honest that you scared. That you are scared of pink penises, okay? I honestly would respect a mammy more if she would be honest and be like, look, I'm just not attracted to them. Hey, instead of using fucking slavery, okay? They ain't got shit to do with us in 2023, okay? We are not slaves no more, bitch. We're not on the plantation. There's no Jim Crow laws. Okay, like stop that bullshit. Like, just be honest that you scared, honey. You scared of the scrutiny. You scared of getting stared at by niggas and being seen as a traitor.
Yeah, I think that's more the thing. Is the concept of a belonging. You know, some people, like I was talking about that other person, and some pro-black mammies and so forth, they have this idea that they own men. They think they own black men. And, you know, some of these people on the other side, the men think they own the women. It's like a mental illness or something, um, where they think that specifically that you own people you don't even know, you've never met in your whole life, but because they have the same skin tone as you own them basically. They're your property. You are entitled to a man of this specific color. You are entitled to a woman of this specific color. It is a weird ideology, but some of these people share this ideology, and because of that, they need reasons to keep them only interested in black men, basically. Because many of the time, these people are not normally just attracted to black men or black women. Most of the time, black people are not just attracted to black people. It's usually a forced behavior to basically be only attracted to black people in America. Reason why is because culturally we are very similar to white Americans. You know, white Americans and black Americans are very similar to each other. It's not just that. It's also the fact that our environments have mainly white people in it. I wouldn't say this country is 100% white, of course, no, but we are a white majority. So most of the people we see, most of the people we're attracted to are specifically white. So we have to make a conscious effort to not be attracted to white people because most of the people we're attracted to are white. So what kind of excuse are you going to give yourself not to consider white people? Something that has to do with them being demonic, basically. And that's usually the kind of argument that is pushed forward, that they did something wrong, that they're evil, that something's inherently wrong with them, things of that nature. Slavery is a argument that people use to basically provide the idea that white people are evil or demonic or whatever, so then they can excuse not being with them. Because in reality, they want to be with them. You know, you wouldn't have to bring up excuses as to why you don't want to be with someone if you don't want to be with them. If you are not interested in them, then you are not interested in them. I don't have to make up reasons why I don't want to be with Asian men. You know what I mean? I don't have to make up reasons why I don't want to be with black men. It's just a natural lack of interest. I don't have an interest in them, so therefore I'm not attracted to them, and therefore I'm not going to be with them. I'm not going to have to use excuses here because I lack the sexual attraction. So that's what's going on there. It's that they don't have a lack of sexual attraction to white men. They have an attraction to white men. This is why you find with a lot of mammies, they have a lot of jealousy. Okay, so they have a lot of jealousy towards people who are in interracial relationships. They interracially date. They're married to a man of another race, particularly white, because they personally want that for themselves. You wouldn't be jealous of someone for something that you didn't want. People are jealous of people for having things that they want. So that lets you know that mammies are attracted to white men. Black women who are against being in interracial relationships, for the most part, especially Black American women. I'm not talking about African people or Caribbean people. They come from a different environment. They grew up in an environment where they only or mostly saw Black people. It's a different scenario, a different culture. Everything's very different there. I'm talking about Black Americans. With Black Americans, like I said, that's why there needs to be excuses made, because otherwise, if left to their own devices, they will be with people outside of their race most of the time, because the majority of Black people's options are outside of the race, not within the race. So that's just the situation at hand, you know, uh, and that's why they make up those excuses. Continue though.
Of your race. You're scared of not having chocolate babies. You're scared of that shit. You're just scared, bitch. Stop acting like slavery has anything to do with anything. But y'all know the crazy thing is, my mom still likes to bring the shit up to me, which gets on my fucking nerves. My mom, every time I go out with a white guy, she's like, well, Olivia, don't you think about, how white people treated our ancestors? I'm like, honey, we're not our ancestors, Mom. I don't know my ancestors, bitch. I mean, I know what I am. I did a DNA test. I'm 80% African, 17% European, and 3% Asian. But I don't know my ancestors, so why the fuck should I not date a fine white dude?
And that's the other thing. It's so weird to me with the whole slavery argument, because it's like, if you really pay attention to the history of Black Americans, we all know that Black Americans descend from slave owners. So then you're saying that what they did to Black Americans or whatever, or that you should feel a certain way about the fact that they had slaves or whatever, but Black Americans' ancestors were literally slave owners who enslaved slaves. They're Black slaves. They're Black ancestors, I mean. So it's kind of like interesting to me, because it's like, well, then wouldn't you mean to say that shouldn't Black people have an aversion to themselves or to other Black people because their ancestors are the descendants? I mean, their ancestors were slave owners. Because Black Americans, on average, usually they have more white than Olivia has, actually. On average, Black Americans are 27% white. So, on average, Black Americans have a lot of white ancestry, and it's from slave owners, the very people you're talking about that you should obviously hate, but hating the descendants of those people would include you, and be particularly you, because your ancestors were the very ones that were the slave owners to your other ancestors that were slaves. You can't say or claim that you're more one ancestor than another. They all contributed to your DNA and who you are today just the same. So it's very weird when Black Americans blame white Americans for slavery in this day and age, when it's like, well, your ancestors were literally the ones who literally enslaved your family. Like, they were the ones committing all the abuse and the assault and all those atrocities to your family was your own great 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 granddaddy. So I mean, like, look to yourself on this. So I just find this very hypocritical, but it's all a smokescreen at the end of the day. And like I said, it's because you need excuses not to date, not to be in a relationship with, not to marry people outside of your race because that's what you want to do, but you feel like it's wrong, so you need excuses as to why it's wrong. Otherwise, you would never have to bring up excuses if you weren't considering it in your head, you weren't susceptible to it yourself, you know. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, everyone. Comment down below and have a great day. Bye, guys.